Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be working in this section of the garden that we call the dragon garden. Now, the dragon here was made for us over 10 years ago by a chap called Ben Broadbent, who is a sculptor. And the dragon is made from an old copper water cylinder. Now, when we placed the dragon here originally, it just sat with gravel at its feet. And we knew that one day we would put some planting around it, but just wanted to be sure and get it right first time. And in February 2022, a couple of years ago, we had a moment of time where our dragon was about to get its day and its own special place with the right planting that just mimicked those hot fiery colours and smokiness and just gave it more of a sense of place within this section of garden. The very first thing we needed to do was to lay a pathway. So the Lime Avenue is just behind us, and we wanted to have a pathway with this beautiful section here that completely surrounded the base of the dragon, obviously with a section at the base where we could plant something like this pheasant grass, which works amazingly. We also light it up at night so that you can just get a little hint of the dragon in its place. Soon after that, we then decided on the planting. Now, I brought in a really good friend of mine called Pip Smith, who's a garden designer. I've never used a garden designer in any section of the garden before, but on this occasion, it felt right because I wanted this section of the garden to be a much later display. So there are many other sections of the garden that kind of come to a natural pause at around the end of June coming into July, where the whole garden starts to take on a little bit of a transition. And I wanted a part of the garden that came to life, that just went wow with the colours and the eruption of life and energy, which this section of garden really beckoned, especially having the dragon in it as well. So Pip and I, we sat down and we talked and made a plan and made a list, a wish list of all the plants that could work well in this garden. And then I left it to Pip to come up with a bit of a plan for me because he's got all that wonderful computer equipment that I have no idea how it works. And then we tweaked and swapped and changed, and then we came up with a final plan that was this one. Now then, this part here is roughly south-ish facing, but we also then have the yew hedging and the wall here that can cast a little bit of shade as well at certain parts of the day. But we knew this part of the garden we could really go to town with some grasses. So we've got the pheasant grass, we've got sedum here. This is Sedum Autumn Joy, which I've moved from another part of the garden, which is great, and we've repeated it just here. And then a little bit deeper in, I've planted some Persicaria, which we split from another section of the garden. So that's Persicaria Red Dragon. Then we've introduced other things that you can't see at the moment, but I'll put a picture while I'm talking to you on these other plants. So we've got some Achillea, we've got some Heleniums, again, some more grasses. So at the back here, we've got this Miscanthus Malepartus. And moving further around, we've got some of the Geum totally tangerine. So you can sense all of that texture, that fieriness, that lovely with the pheasant grass here with all these lovely colours coming through. Some Crocosmia Lucifer as well, which we have lots and lots of in the garden. So that went in near the back. And then we obviously just did a bit of repetition and swept them around until we got to this section at the back here, where we've got some Heuchera, just a couple here, which is Heuchera Obsidian, which I love. I've got that in pots and in other places in the garden. And then we've got some Hakonechloa just swept through here, and a bit more pheasant grass as well. All of these tolerate a little bit more shade as well, which is fantastic. I won't be cutting back the Heuchera. I'll just take away any of the old flower stems or anything that doesn't look very happy. Hakonechloa, I will take that right back to the ground. Probably won't see any shoots from that until April time roughly, or even slightly later. Now the pheasant grass, I have actually cut that back to the ground before now, but, and that's a big but, if the pheasant grass, like this one, still looks absolutely fine and happy and colourful, then I won't cut it back. There's no real need to do that. But if there are any little dead bits that don't look very happy, I may snip them out a little bit. But otherwise, this looks fine and I'll leave it completely alone. Whereas some other grasses, like the Miscanthus over here, this is going to be cut completely to the ground, right the way down here, as well as the Distampsia. And we can just vaguely see there are some new shoots. So all I'm going to do is pull away the old bits and make it look a lot tidier. Now there are a few rogue things that have seeded themselves in here, like this. Because I want to strictly keep this part of the garden to the hot fiery colours and grasses that I've chosen in here. So any rogue plants that come in here, they will have to come out, I'm afraid. And if I do like them, then I'll just move them on. So this is a bit of Lunaria here, which does seed itself around the whole of the garden, and I absolutely love it. It's great for cutting as cut flowers, and it's a bit of a filler, but I'll be moving that out of here. But other things that I won't be cutting completely back are another thing, which is the sedum. Now you can see with the sedum here, now when we take a closer look at the sedum, we can see these are the old flower heads here. And if we trace them all the way back down as low as here, we can see we've got some beautiful, lovely, lush new growth coming through. And all of these stems here, I will just trace them as low down as I can and then just snip them off so that we can enjoy this lush new growth coming up. Oh, well, I've been itching to get all of this sorted out, and now is my time. I'm going to get it looking a lot tidier. Now, a lot of the plants, I will make a list of some of them and put them into my description if you want to have a quick look. If you have any questions, please do drop me a message. I'll be very happy to answer them for you as well. But now, I'm going to get cracking and get all of this looking nice and tidy. Oh, wow, it's turned out to be a glorious evening here, and I finished just in the nick of time. Oh, it looks so much better, and I cannot wait to see all of this come into fruition this summer. Now, before I go, I just want to point out that I may be taking the odd few things out of here at some stage, because the Persicaria loves it that much in here. It's kind of starting to dominate this area. So there's a high chance I might take out one or two, or just split them up a little bit, or cut them back a little bit. But other than that, I cannot wait to bring you back here when everything starts to flowering. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this evening, and I'd like to say a very big thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget to look in the description if you want to see what planting I have in here, and do ask some questions as well. Take care. Bye bye.